Hello everyone, welcome back to Rivet and Clank. It's time for Torrent 4. So basically, we broke the special thingy we needed and we have to go get it fixed.
That I just realized that spaceship looks way too much like that stupid parachute ship that Count Dooku used in the prequel trilogy. The Star Wars references just keep rolling out here.
It does kind of have a similar vibe. Like, it's certainly cartoonier than Star Wars.
It sort of does now. Everything's a lot like more deliberately sci-fi. The aesthetic in the older games was more like clunker junker cartoony style, I suppose. Although this does look like Veldin. Is this Veldin? What planet is this?
Torrent 4.
So
remember we're in Rivet's dimension, so.
Oh, okay.
Do they go to any planets that were on Ratchet's dimension but now we're in Rivet's dimension?
I mean, I think the one that was blown up is one that was
sorta, yeah.
But like I mentioned Veldin because this looks very much like the first planet from Ratchet and Clank 1, which is also the last planet from Ratchet and Clank 1. It's basically the desert junkyard that Ratchet lived on before he managed to get off world. But okay, who put this here? And what is it for?
It's like this place was built for me.
We're asking the Sonic the
Ratchet's
Hedgehog
parents,
question now.
like what happened to them or whatever?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think they bring up what is. Didn't one of the characters in the future series have something to do with his dad?
Maybe, I don't know. I like a lot. Like, I haven't finished the future series, and what story I did play of the future series kind of bleeds together because I just find it uninteresting. It never comes up in the original games. I'll say that. The
original games don't really care about his backstory.
Yeah, the only thing we ever find out about Ratchet's backstory is that he started on this goddamn forsaken desert planet, and he just wants off. So that's where we find him at the beginning of Ratchet 1. He's trying to build his own spaceship. Clank helps him get it running, and they leave. And
stuff happens afterwards.
Yeah. But like, backstory and lore weren't really a thing in the original 3 Ratchet games, unless you count like Captain Quark getting some backstory and resolution in Ratchet 3, which is, to be fair, quite like probably my favorite part of that story, because Quark was such a big part of the first 2 games that actually like going into his like history and actually redeeming him after the bullshit he pulled in the first 2 games is pretty cool. I liked it. I just, weird direction to go narratively after the first 2 games is all.
Yeah, this NPC definitely screams Star Wars to me. Just like the way that he's animated and like having a huge ass backpack like that feels something out of Star Wars.
I really missed this kind of thing. This is the kind of NPC interaction you'd see on every single planet in Ratchet and Clank's 1 and 2. Not so much 3, and definitely not the games that came after 3. But,
So, yeah, the fixture's in kind of a mopey mood.
Oh, he doesn't feel like it? Wow.
Well, the pirates are attacking and he's just kind of in a bad mood. We'll find out why he's in a bad mood when we actually go talk to him.
I thought it was because pirates were attacking him.
We'll see later. It's funny.
Okay.
hold
on.
One of the shortcomings, well, I say shortcomings, but there's something to be gained from it, but there was something lost too. In the future series, most of the character interactions you had were with recurring characters who would, show up on different planets,
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't really learn anything about the world because of it, because like, there's that recurring pirate gang, I suppose. Then there's the bounty hunter guy with the Australian adventurer hat with a parrot, I think.
So he's OVA Knuckles.
Maybe. I don't know. And he would show up on like every goddamn planet, you know? And that was your character interactions. But like in 1 and 2 in particular, there'd be a different character to meet on every planet. And it was always fun seeing who you'd get to meet next. And it was kind of important because like the PS2 games obviously didn't have a lot to spare on like ambient NPC chatter or anything of that nature. So the NPCs that you run into were supposed to give you an idea of what like the setting was like, what every area of the setting was like more specifically. Jak and Daxter did a lot of the same thing too. Like that was 1 did it, but more importantly 2 and 3 did it. And that was basically the only reason that you had to care about Haven City or anything that was going on in Desert Town or wherever the fuck, because like everyone else was just the same 3 NPCs copy and pasted everywhere and made killable except in Japan.
Wait, what?
Japan stopped you from killing the NPCs in Jak 2 and 3 because you know, it was an ironic piece of censorship that I actually think, you know, wallpapers over one of the issues with Jak 2. Where it's just like, you know.
What's the point of killing the NPCs in that game? I thought you were
There
supposed
is
to be the
no
good
point.
guy.
That's kind of the issue. It was
like
it
you
was,
can just like, do you get anything for it?
No, it was just them doing it because GTA did it. But but Jak 2 is not GTA, even though it has some light GTA elements in its hub world.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. The whole point of GTA is that you're a criminal. So killing people on the randomly on the street because you're an asshole, like, fits with that specific power fantasy. But like, you're supposed to be the good guy in Ratchet, so like killing NPCs just doesn't make sense.
That's kind of what makes it weird. Is that like the dialogue never acknowledges that at some point during this game you inevitably caused catastrophic and lethal collateral damage to entire communities within this city. Probably,
it's Man of Steel. Okay.
Probably leading to a higher death count than the metalheads you're fighting. But, well, I mean, in Man of Steel's case, it was kind of like unavoidable collateral damage because the guys that Superman were fighting were other Kryptonians, and like you can't really fight them without being tossed around. That even happens in the comics a few times, like
even in the animated series when he fights not Zod.
Yeah,
there's him flying through buildings and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like it works there because the characters are trying, at least making an effort not to cause that collateral damage, but like in Jak 2's case, it's just sort of a thing that happens during gameplay. Inevitably, there's no way to avoid it. You're going to kill civilians at some point just because like you don't have precise enough control over your own firearms not to. And the game never acknowledges that you're doing it either. It's not like Infamous where causing collateral damage edges you toward the dark side. So you have to actively try to avoid it if you're playing good. It's just something that happens, and and it leads to the game just feeling weird narratively.
So, like in the Japanese version, they'll just get up if they get hit or whatever?
Yes, that is exactly what happens. They are unkillable, but you can knock them around like ragdolls.
And this is in both games? Both 2 and 3?
I think so.
Wow.
It's a bit weird in Jak 3's case because the GTA elements of the hub world are kind of dialed back in Jak 3's case, and it's more like you're progressing from one smaller hub to another hub,
Now, as someone who knows nothing about those games, is 2 generally considered better than 3, or the other way?
No, other way around.
Okay. That's so weird though, because 2 is definitely the better made game of the two.
3 has more of the platforming stuff I think people wanted.
Does it? Does it?
Yeah, it does.
Because, I played that recently, and it felt more like vehicle missions, the game.
I mean, there's a lot of those, too, but I think people were more accepting of that versus we're basically just trying to be GTA, running around with guns.
Jak 2 is, like, apart from the hub world area, almost pure platforming and combat, with a side of a few boarding missions, But, like, Jak 3 spends so long in dune buggy mode that like it doesn't.
I mean,
really
I'm about to play through both of them again, so I guess I'll see. But
it doesn't really hit platforming stride until the mission where you're making your way back to Haven City. That great shit, that mission, but so many vehicle missions. Oof. Also, like on a technical level, I don't think Jak 3 is as well put together as 2, but yeah.
Did you just give that guy a hot tub?
No, he was just... Wait, you mean the pool in the middle there?
Oh, yeah, he was, like, sitting in it like it was a hot tub.
No, I think he was just kind of clipping into it a little bit.
Oh, okay. Because that would be funny. Like, that was kind of the idea I had of a lot of Ratchet and Clank weapons, where, like, you made them dance in a disco. So, like, if you gave them a hot tub and then they got stuck in the hot tub and then you could shoot them, like, seems like it would fit. I don't know how you would make it work, but whatever. It's a video game about whatever the hell these guys are. You figure it out.
Robot pirates.
Well, I mean, the game's not about robot pirates. It just features robot. It's always robot pirates whenever they bring pirates into the future. Like even Metroid's space pirates, like they're at least partly robot.
Well, they're lizard people with cybernetics, I think.
Yeah, that's partly robot. But like, and Rayman 2, the robots are pirate robots.
Pirates are robot pirates, you mean?
Sure, whatever.
You said the robots are robot pirates or pirate robots.
That's
you
also
robots
true.
Are
I was going to say that still works. As
no,
a sentence.
what you said was the robots are pirate robots, and it's like, are there other robots in that game? I don't know.
I haven't beaten it. I don't know. Maybe.
All right, so we get our slingshot thingy.
Nice.
A D12, the most useless dice.
Hurl shot, that's what it's called. And so the funny thing about this is that there is a photo mode you can start at any point in the game. I know Cat Icarus on his streams was curious and he paused the game in photo mode and just got super close up on Ribbit's face and it was just like super stretched out and weird looking during that animation.
The 3D tweener frames, huh?
Yeah, basically.
Oh man, okay, that is hilarious shit. But like,
better or worse than being able to make phone call conversations with Lady Nemesque in Resident Evil Village.
What?
Like, because with the photo mode of that, though, you can, like, make Lady Nemesque look like she's having a phone call with whoever the hell you want.
Oh,
well, that's just that's just a single image. That was just a meme for a while, yeah.
Yeah. I still think my favorite version of that gag, though, is in the Rugrats special where they explain the Moses story. And then Angelica is the Pharaoh. And then they just cut to her calling her dad, and he's just normal.
My favorite is the Sedith memes from Three Houses. Yeah. Because, like, the actor
Clayton and I are stuck inside the McDonald's play area. Can you see us? We're waving down at you.
The actor actually got into the fun and recorded, like, in-character voice recordings of some of the memes. And the McDonald's Play Place one is one of the ones he did.
Oh, I always appreciate when actors do that. Like, there's a recording of the Spectacular Spider-Man voice actor recording some of the Spider-Man 60s memes, and he's like, "This is bullshit. You can't ground Spider-Man."
No, one of the best ones was this past Halloween. Steve Buscemi did the "How do you do, fellow kids" outfit when he answered the door for people.
How do you do, fellow kids?
So
listen, if Steve Buscemi came to my house wearing that, I would give him candy. I should go trick-or-treating wearing that. Holy shit. Do you think I'd get candy?
Yes,
Do
you
think it
probably
work?
would.
Oh,
Yes, you probably would.
Okay, how do I get a shirt that says music band on it?
You could probably just find it on the internet somewhere. At
I'm
the very least, someone would do it for you.
I'm sure someone's made it on like Etsy or whatever. Oh man,
Yeah, that's actually a really great idea.
I just, you know what,
It's a shame we're in May and not like September or something.
I know, right? I'll never remember this by the time October comes around. Oh man, you know, I should just get a shirt that says music band on it.
And see who recognizes it.
Yeah, because that's just one of my favorite parts of that image is that, like, that scene is set in, like, what, the 2000s? And he's wearing a shirt parodying AC/DC like it's 1980. It's like, okay. Oh, man. So, the pixely weapon, like,
yes.
It pixelizes the enemies and seems like it works like a shotgun. Does it do anything else, or does it just make them look weird?
It makes them look weird, and all their voice clips are heavily synthesized, like they're coming out of, like, you know, the B-52 bomber.
Oh, yes, like they're talking like this speaker has something up its navel cavities.
Yeah.
Speaking of the pixelizer, like, one of the, like, semi-funnier moments in Gaming Brit's video about the pixelizer was about the way that the shop vendor kept pestering him to buy a pixelizer. I know why that happened to him, and it's because the shop vendor in that game is programmed to pester you to buy the next weapon in sequence that you haven't owned, that you don't own yet. And he just never bought the pixelizer, so it always prioritized the pixelizer.
But, like, gameplay-wise, when you hit someone with it, does them being pixelated, like, do anything to the enemy?
No.
Or
I don't think it does.
It's
no.
just a comedy thing. Okay.
It's there to be humorous.
Yeah, it's kind of
like,
a weird fit for the story direction that they went with from the future series onward. Less of a weird fit for this game because this game has an inherently kookier concept to its storyline. So.
It's just like, I get the idea behind, like, most of the other ones. Like, okay, you're covered with plants or you're made to dance. Like, that slows you down or whatever. So, like,
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's silly, but it also has a gameplay function. You know,
when the Groovatron is used, it actually just prevents the enemies from attacking you at all because they're too busy dancing. So it's really actually a really useful thing to bust out.
Yeah.
But like the pixelizer is just kind of a funny weapon that doesn't.
It's just a funny shotgun.
Yeah, it's a shotgun with a visual effect, and I think that's kind of like another thing that made its inclusion in the remake awkward and disappointing is the fact that it was the only new weapon. Everything else was reused from other games in the series, but like the pixelizer is the only new one and it doesn't actually do anything new.
Yeah, like, I mean, for a remake I can understand not wanting to use too many new weapons.
Well,
like,
I'll stop you there because in the remake they didn't actually reuse the weapons from the game they were remaking. They reused the weapons from every other game in the series.
Honestly, I can understand that too by giving like some new context to like the game. By it's like it's the same game but you have different weapons. Like I can kind of see that, but like maybe just like a new mode and an old mode would have been cool. You know, where you have the new weapons and old weapons.
But they didn't remake any of the cool weapons from the first game. Like, I mentioned the remote control missile before. It's called the Visibomb. You basically drive the missile like a ship directly into whatever you're trying to fight. But I guess they didn't want to include that because if you were able to control a remote control missile, you could just pilot it around level construction and no-sell some of the epic combat encounters they want you to have. Well,